What are your thoughts on Curtis Yarvin, the Dark Enlightenment, and the Cathedral as a concept to describe the growth of leftist ideas? It seems to be becoming a more popular way to read the problems of the political establishment, namely that we have a garbage in, garbage out problem at the civilizational level, and that society needs more formalized hierarchies so that they don't develop incorrect ideas about how free they truly are, while the government slides into oligarchy and quiet tyranny. It's a very compelling idea, but there also seems to be a lingering danger in the prescriptions for addressing these symptoms, a la far-right revolution, neo-monarchism, etc. What are your thoughts? Well, Yarvin has been much in the news these days, both come under a lot of attack, but also gained a lot of applause. One of the first things that I ever did at the American Mind was help to publish him in TAM. The Clear Pill, I think, was the essay that he wrote for us. And so, I find his stuff very interesting. I have no animus toward him. He's not, I don't agree with him. He's not quite on the same page as I am. And that is because it seems to me that this idea of the cathedral is describing a real truth, but doing so in a way that sort of takes this posture of cynicism. It's kind of like, using James Burnham and the Machiavellians to say, well, there's only three kinds of government, right? And if you don't like the way that our democracy is going, it's sort of becoming an oligarchy, essentially. And therefore you have to, acquiesce to a monarchy. And the cathedral is sort of this oligarchy that is coming into being. And it's not a new idea in the sense that, Claremont typically talks about this stuff more like the ruling class, right? Which is something we get from Angelo Codevilla. James Burnham, also somebody famous for talking about the theory of oligarchy. And I think you would be hard-pressed to deny that such a thing exists, right? I mean, that's obviously a thing. One of the things that I've been arguing is that you certainly can't escape the existence of an aristocratic class. There's always going to be, whether it exists via hereditary, whether it's hereditary or whether it's meritocratic or some combination of both, you're always going to have a kind of group of people that operate at the highest levels of society. And yes, part of my critique also of the current American situation is that our aristocratic class is corrupt and decadent. And there's no question to me that that's true. So in that sense, I understand. And I think that the cathedral kind of makes it seem a little bit more competent and organized than it actually is. Like, I think that really we're dealing with a number of incentives more akin to what Plato describes in Book 8 of the Republic, and that these things kind of emerge naturally out of time and the decay of Republican systems. But it seems to me that, it's not the case that you only have, even, Machiavelli himself would say it's not the case that you only have, oligarchy, monarchy, and democracy. You also have a republic. Like, a republic is a thing. And it's both in classical and in modern political philosophy, it is the solution to these problems. Now, does that mean that, we're going to be able to recover and reclaim our republic? No. Does it mean that we need to insist to people that, their republic is at a further stage of advanced decay than perhaps they, in their complacency, have admitted? Yes, absolutely. So I will go that far. But I think that there is this kind of just knowing cynicism, this like self-indulgent, it's just all going, unfortunately, we just have to take over because we're the competent ones. It's like, there's really not a lot of competence in evidence among our present elites. There's a lot of power and a lot of corruption and these sorts of things, but none of it gives me any faith that, like, the best solution to that is simply to anoint, like, somebody in Silicon Valley king, right? And just make him a wise, enlightened monarch. Like, I'm not so anti-monarchy that I think it always and everywhere sucks, but I also think that the problems that we're addressing are problems specifically of Republican decay, not democratic decay. This is not like, we do have some democratic excesses, but our problem is not that we've, decayed in the way that a democracy decays. We've decayed in the way that a republic decays, which is into an oligarchy. And that means that the remedy is restoration of Republican ideals. And if that's not our remedy, then we've just given up, essentially. That's my sort of take on it. And there's obviously a lot more to say, but I would say that's kind of top line. You asked for what's my assessment of this stuff. I think it's worth engaging with. I hate when it gets talked about as if it were some sort of like neo-fascist, something untouchable that we can't even deign to understand because that would taint us or whatever. But it's not quite my theory of the case, nor is it something that I wish personally to align myself with. Because the other last thing I'll say is whenever somebody says to you that unfortunately we've run the numbers and it just turns out that you actually can't have your republic. That's just everybody always says that. Like there's always some reason why like the hour is too late, and unfortunately we just have to do a monarchy now. Like that's one of the oldest tricks in the book. And as an American, I feel like my job is to be like, you know what, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Damn it. Okay, that's what I have to say.